The views and opinions expressed during Love and Life with Lana and Dave are those only of the speakers and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or the position of our podcast hosts or affiliates. Any content provided is not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, anyone, or anything. All right, let's do it.
You're listening to Love and Life with Lana and Dave, the podcast where logic is power and you take control. Thank you for tuning in and making the choice to listen in and get ideas for your own love and life. Now, here are your hosts, Lana Williams and David Vaccaro.
Trigger warning. This episode may contain discussions of violence, sexual abuse, and addiction issues. Please listen at your discretion. Happy Friday. Welcome back for part 2 of Double Standards. Let's get right into it.
So
right.
Do I think that it's wrong that a guy cry? No, absolutely not. And I don't believe that they're weak because they cry. I don't believe that at all.
It was a trope that when we grew up, we were taught the same thing because Dave and I came from the same generation.
I deal with it when I'm alone.
I do the same.
I don't necessarily do it in public.
I was raised like a little boy, so technically, or at least emotionally.
Yeah,
so
you keep your emotions to yourself.
Right. You know, I don't vomit my emotions on other people. However, when I say it, people get offended and they're like, "There's nothing wrong with that." I'm like, "I'm sure there isn't. It's just there's something wrong when I do it. I don't like when I do it. It's a completely a me thing."
Yeah, exactly.
Men are always expected to be the breadwinner. That seems to be changing, but that's something that.
Well, no. Okay, so I do hear a lot when women are successful and the guy does not make as much as the woman, it creates a problem in the home. It does create. It
does have to change, but I don't think that women are expecting men to be the breadwinner.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It is true that women we always want the same as or more than. Women tend to be that way. So if we make $150,000 a year, we're generally not going to deal with a guy who makes 60.
Which is crazy.
That doesn't necessarily, I don't know if that's, I know people that have done that, so I know it's not completely impossible.
Right.
But women seem to be like, well, even though women, it's so weird because I'm the same way sometimes and I get it. And it's internalized misogyny is what it is. If I'm the type of person who, if I always feel like if I can do it, then he should be at least be able to do what I'm doing. That's something that comes from me being a kid.
Sure.
That's not really correct, but that's just the way I was raised.
Right. Yeah.
So if I can do anything by myself, then I would expect somebody to come along and at least do what I do. I wouldn't expect somebody to come along and do twice what I'm doing. I don't care. I just like people who I like people who contribute. I just like contributing. Yeah. If you make $40,000 a year and I make $70,000 a year and you're busting your ass and that's just what you do and you're trying to, that's the opportunity you have at the moment, then I'm not going to shun a guy over that.
No,
but there are women who are just like, oh no, I want this. This is what I make.
Yeah.
So you either have to come along and improve upon what I make, or you.
Good thing guys didn't do that.
Well,
because there would have been a lot of single people.
But guys could have done that. Guys could have done that, but under the circumstances, you have to look back at.
Right.
You have to look at the patriarchy, and you have to say, well, women couldn't do that, or they would have done that. So the reason that men had to go for less was because men put us kind of, let's be honest, like we were in a position where we couldn't have done more if we tried because of the society we were in and the fact that we had to, if we, and now we're at a position where I always tell guys this and they get mad at me. Well, what am I supposed to do? You don't want a girl to take you for your money? Meet a woman who makes more than you do. A woman who makes more than you will never take you for anything. As long as you're
going to be okay with it, because I think that's where the struggle comes in, and I think that's probably why women that make $150,000 want a guy that makes at least what she's making or more, because I think a guy feels like less of a man, which is on him.
Right.
It's stupid.
It is on him, and it is stupid. Yes,
it's a double standard thing because. Honestly, if I met a woman made more money than me or had more money than me or whatever the case was, had a better job than me, I'm proud of her for that. You know, more power to you, because I've been busting my balls my whole life.
Right.
And the thing is that I don't get it, but it's a thing and I see it.
I know.
I definitely see it.
But we have to try to, this is in 2023 is coming in. We're going to be, I think Dave and I are going to get into some some charm school. We're going to be putting some guys through a program and having them get rid of that negative. That's some old yesterday attitude that they need to drop.
Yeah, it is.
However, the failure to launch thing is not something I want to see either. And that I've been studying a whole lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
On men who've decided they're just not going to move out of their mother's house and they're just going to live there forever. And they don't need, why should I get a job? Why should I pay bills? There's no point to it. We don't want to see that either. And we don't want men that come in and say, well, if you want to be the woman, then I'll just sit home and play video games and you can go to work. We don't want to see that either.
Right.
We want somebody who contributes. We just want somebody. We're really looking for equals. It's so funny. We're just looking for.
Wait, no, because if you are a guy and you want to stay at home, then you take on the role as house husband, and you make sure.
Well, that's the thing. Most guys will not. They don't want to clean the house.
Let me tell you something. It's a much harder job than any job I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
So, listen, I live by myself, so I do take on that role. But my house is nowhere near as nice as it would be. And I've been to houses where there's, a housewife or a stay-at-home mom. Their houses are way better than mine and well more kept than I could ever keep mine. So, first of all, you want to stay home? You're going to do that. And I guarantee you, I'd rather shovel shit against the tide than be a stay-at-home dad. I can promise.
But even we're talking about even without children, there are men who are like, hey, you want to go to work? Then, hey, you want to be the one who brings in the money? Okay, I'll just stay home and watch Netflix all day. Oh, no, we don't do that.
That's just silly. That's first of all, if a woman is allowing a man to do that, then, because I still believe, I'm still a little old-fashioned. I believe a man should at least step up.
Right.
And everybody
pick up the slack of whatever needs to be done. And
whatever it is.
That's it.
You're supposed to be building something together. And if somebody's just sitting home doing nothing and reaping all the benefits of the other person, that's shitty. So to me, I like a stay-at-home housewife type of person. I'm okay with that. Not everybody can afford to do that. I'm lucky enough that I can, but if I did have a stay-at-home housewife, then I would expect that when I came home, I had a nice, relaxing place to go to. That's really all I'm asking for. And I've lived with people that didn't work and they lived with me and my house would be a mess when I come home. And I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense to me because I'm working. You should be working too. Right. And that's why in my list, work ethic is important. I don't mean you have to go get a job and have great work ethic. Your job, whatever it is an agreed
I believe that if somebody, either two people go to work and I'm not against hiring somebody to come in and clean. I could care less.
Yeah. Two people at work and you got to.
Right. So if you really want to go out, make the money, make sure you're starting a stockpile of money, make sure you have money in the bank, you're building an empire and you don't have time to deal with washing your floors. I have no qualms with somebody bringing a house or somebody, a maid in to do that stuff.
100%.
But, and the same thing as a house husband, housewife, either if you don't want to be in somebody's house and just hanging around and you want to live with them and just clean the house and go and you want to work, then work, but then make sure somehow that stuff is taken care of. Oh yeah. And it's not on the person that's out working all day, whether that's you or that's him or both of you or whatever.
Right.
Have it be, if you work a little teeny bit of extra time and make a little teeny bit of extra money and give it to somebody to come and clean your house every week or every 2 weeks or whatever.
Yes. Whatever.
Where am I here? Men are not allowed to reject women on looks, but women are allowed to do the same. I don't believe that's true. I believe both genders should be able to do it.
I will reject a woman based on looks all day long. Right. And it's my preference. That's all it is.
I agree too. You and I are a little different about that. So I guess in the real world out there in the wild, men feel like they feel like they're being discriminated against because they can't really do the same. Divorce lawyers favor women. Now this is something that it's probably that way for the world, but in my particular little circle of the world, most of my friends are the breadwinners. And so therefore they really got taken to the cleaners because they're the ones that had the most money. I think that lawyers favor the money. That's what I think.
Yes, lawyers favor the money. So
no matter who's making it, that's
maybe in the past. Look, there are things. If a woman,
but in the past, so the money, the thing about what
today, right now, you're right. The lawyers favor the money, but when it comes to kids, kids will always go to the mother before the father.
It depends on the mother. I've seen
if they're both working and they both have the same thing, even if the mother's not working, they will favor the mother over the father all day long.
They will, but I also believe that.
Unless she's a shitbag.
Right. I also believe that, like I said, when I say that lawyers favor money, I believe that we have to start from the relationship and do men date women who make less than they do? Yes. A lot of times men make the most money because that's the way that the relationship's set up.
That's correct.
So the person who makes the least amount of money is the person who gets the reward in the divorce, and that's technically the woman, but it doesn't have to be the woman, but that's the way that the relationship began.
And it won't be. If the woman was the breadwinner and she's making $1 million a year and the guy's making $50,000 a year, he's going to make out like a bandit.
Right. And there are men that will tell me that that's wrong, but I don't believe that.
No, it's not. It's not wrong.
I've seen from friends of mine, I've seen friends of mine that were females with children that were paying their own mortgage. I've seen them had to buy their husbands out of the house. I've seen them have to buy. 100%. I've seen them have to pay lawyers' fees and give up their 401ks and buy their husband motorcycles and all that kind of stuff. I've seen all of that.
Yep,
so that's what I think. I think it's where the money's at.
Where the money is. Yeah.
Sex toys for women are accepted. For men, people think he's a loser. I don't agree with that either. I don't really run into that. I'm always telling guys, please go get a flashlight and leave the rest of us alone. You know.
I bought this thing off of and I'm holding it up right now. This went viral on TikTok. Okay. It's the banana cleaner.
Okay.
Yeah. It's that banana cleaner and it's pretty funny. Oh wait. Won't work. It will work. Look at that thing.
Okay.
That's spectacular. Look, yeah, it's dumb. I don't care what people say about that. You know why? They don't really make a lot of sex toys for men, to be honest. There's more now than there used to be.
Okay.
And,
I mean, I think there should be more, to be honest with you.
It's kind of hard. I mean, we only can do one thing. I mean, there's not
whatever. So
yeah, they have them. There's plenty of sex toys.
Whatever that one thing is, I guess there should be more of a variety for it. But I don't ever have a problem with a guy that has sex toys. Who cares? I don't know. But I guess maybe that's not something that like I've ever said. So maybe this might have been a list where maybe this is an older item where people used to say that.
No, maybe still. I mean, I don't know. Maybe people think I'm a weirdo because I have sex toys. I don't know.
I have no idea. Dave and I are like, I don't know. I mean, we both.
I don't know.
Have no
I have no
about stuff like that.
No, I don't.
Video games for men is terrible. Netflix for women is a celebrated thing. Now, I don't agree with that either.
What do you mean?
Men are saying that if they want to sit around and play video games for 4 hours, that makes them douchebags. But if women don't want to sit and watch Netflix for 4 hours and binge, that's okay. That's trendy and it's okay.
I can tell you that there are women that get paid to play video games way more than men.
Right.
They go on TikTok, a hot chick, and she's playing video games. She's making $1 million a year.
Right. Great. I mean, I don't know what people can. There are monetized situations, but I don't know what this. I don't think. I've never heard society say anything like that. So
I can't sit around.
Maybe that's an older theory too. Or maybe one it's a regional thing. I've never heard of that. Men taking selfies is narcissistic. Well, of course, I have absolutely no discrimination about anybody taking selfies, and I think it's narcissistic from anybody who does it.
Everybody takes selfies now.
But if they do it if you're somebody that's taking 17 selfies a day, I don't care who you are. I think there's something going on there.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not in the selfie generation, so I never understood selfies from anybody.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a double standard.
Right. But this is what men are saying.
I call bullshit because I see a lot of, I'm on social media. I see just as many men selfies as women selfies. Who cares?
But men are saying that when they do it, they're called narcissistic for it. I don't know.
Well, I never heard that.
There's no demand for plus size male models. I don't know. That's one of the things I read. I don't know what that means.
There's a whole store called Men's Big and Tall.
That's a store, but I guess online or whatever, or in ads that there's not a demand for plus size models that are male. Men, I can only say this: women are very supportive of their gender, and they're very community oriented.
Yeah.
So women, we want to see, and we generally don't. I mean, obviously, we like to see hot guys. Don't get me wrong, but we don't look at ads for that reason. We look at ads because we're buying shit. So for women, we just want to see. We want to see something reflected that we want to see ourselves reflected in the shit that we are buying. So we want to see plus size models. We want to see different types of bodies because we don't want the Victoria's Secret size 2. With the big boobs. I mean, we all know, we just want to see a realistic mirror of what it is that we live.
You speak for yourself. I like the size 2 model with the
Fine,
big.
but that's not why we look at
I know.
ads. Like we look at closing ads because we're buying merchandise. That's why we want to see.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Men could rally for male plus size models. That's on them. I mean, if they don't see that, then they need to get community and create a situation where they demand that. That's what we did, and that's why we see it.
They won't. So there are female plus models all over the place, and it's a big thing. But the modeling industry in and of itself has always been a majority women anyways. Right. You know, you look through a Sears catalog, and I'm going way back, it's a majority of women. Yes, there are men in there, but there's a few men in compared to 100 women. Right. So it's always been.
I mean, women buy, we buy more clothes. We buy men's clothes. It's like we have husbands and boyfriends and stuff. We generally buy the merchandise. We're the ones that do the shopping.
And just for the record, a woman will buy something that looks good on a thin guy for a big man. Mm-hmm. Right. And the guy usually goes in, no matter what size he is, and just grabs shit off the rack and goes, yeah, that's a cool shirt. I'll buy it. Mm-hmm. And do you have that in XXX? Right. It doesn't triple. I mean,
that is true. I'm not. There are men who are into fashion. Don't get me wrong. I have guys that are friends that are fashionable, but a lot of guys really aren't. They're not into the fashion side of it as much as women are. Some are. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of male models that whatever. There are a lot of guys, but for the most part, guys aren't as obsessed with fashion that I know of as women are. Right. At least in the industry. Obviously, like I said, there are men. I have friends that are men that are like all into making sure they look good and what they're wearing. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but
it does.
It's less common. Then the short versus fat argument. Now, this one drives me crazy. I don't think it's a comparison, but men are like, oh, women always want somebody who's 6'2", but when we ask them how much they weigh, they get offended. Well, those are two completely different things. But they're also preferences.
You're attracted. What do they get? Look, right. I like what I like. It doesn't matter how much she weighs.
There are men who are upset because they're getting passed over because they're not tall enough for women, and most women there's a specific height that most women require, and some guys are under that, and so therefore they get less of an option.
That's correct. You do.
Right.
You do get less of an option. Just the same as, and you could say the same thing for a woman that's 300 pounds. She gets less of an option, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that there's not an option. It means it's less of an option. So friggin' what?
I know. I'm just saying.
I'm 56 years old. My options.
Men are like, if women say they don't want short men, it's okay. But when we say we want women who are size 2, everybody gets mad at us. That's their argument. And I don't. Like I said,
all I want. I like what I like. You can get mad at all you want. I'm not going to whine about it.
So the last 2 are women. The last 3 rape accusations for men seem to be taken much more seriously, even if there's no proof. I don't think that's happening as much as it used to, but it did.
Maybe not so much as much as it
I agree that that's the case, that it does happen. Women and children on a sinking ship go first. I don't know. It's been years since the Titanic.
When was the last time a ship sank?
Listen, this is what men are giving us for double standards. It's their complaints.
You know why? Because listen, there's actually a reason behind women and children first, by the way. Mm-hmm. It's to keep the population alive. A guy can't get pregnant, can't carry a child. A woman can carry more children and add to the population. Those children can grow up and have more children. Mm-hmm. That's why it was women and children first, just for the record.
That's what I figured. Plus, I believe that way back in the early 1900s, it was probably just much more about the gentleman thing than not.
It wasn't. It was actually. There was a. So, and I remember this from when I went to school. I took some college classes, and somebody did a story on why women and children were always taken out of a bad situation first, and that is why. Mm-hmm. And I go, yep, that makes sense.
Yep, that makes sense to me too. And that's what I thought. I figured it had something to do with that. You know what I mean?
1,000 men die. It doesn't make a difference because one man can impregnate 100 women in 100 days.
Right.
Your population is going to remain.
Right.
So,
and then the pro-choice, and you and I, Dave, have gotten into pro-choice. So I know you agree with that. Pro-choice meaning women have much more pro-choice options than men do when it comes to pregnancy or keeping pregnancy or abortion.
They have all of the choice.
Right. Well, men have one choice, women have one choice, and at the beginning, and that's contraception. Women have a second choice before the pregnancy or during the pregnancy. I don't know what to say about that. It's just that we carry the children, so that's something that maybe seems unfair, but it's not like set up on purpose where biologically it is what it is.
They need to fix the law, and that's why it's all a mess right now, because they realize it's a messy law. And do I believe that a woman has a right? Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. Do I believe that in order to make this successful, they're going to have to, especially today where we're trying to do everything equally, then if the man says, no, I don't want a baby, he should be able to sign a paper and she agrees and she's going to keep it against his will. He has nothing to do with that child, and vice versa.
Her carrying it's a different story if she doesn't want to.
Correct. I agree. Now, do I believe that a married couple that's trying to claim that trying to have a baby, I think that should be grounds for divorce as well. You go and have an abortion when I believe that you're trying to get pregnant, or you are on birth control when we talked about it and I want a kid.
Well, it's like anything else.
Don't want one. It should be a divorce. Right. It's a divorceable. Right. It should be a fault divorce at that point.
Well, it depends on the state you're in, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think in my state, I don't think fault exists. Rhode Island is a no fault state, I believe, but it depends. The only thing other thing I have like a couple of things I want to bring up, and that was just relationship double standards. One, expecting something from your mate that you refuse to apply to yourself, or give or become, expecting somebody to be what you won't be. Meeting each other's needs. So you're not meeting somebody else's needs, you expect them to meet yours. Treating your parents of each partner different. Oh, your parents are blah, 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 but my parents are wonderful. Having that double standard.
Oh, yeah. A big one.
Spending habits in the relationship. Somebody thinking that somebody should work for everything and the other one think they should spend it all.
Right.
Her friends and his friends, and the double standard of how their different friends get treated or looked at. The chores in the house. You should do all the chores and I don't have to, whatever. And then hurting one another. She hurt me, but, whatever. The hurting one another to get back at each other and then complaining that one of them is, that, I don't know.
One's meaner than the other.
One is trying really hard to hurt the other one and then complaining about, and then we brought up watching the kids before, so that's just another thing for couples, watching the kids. Neither one of them is watching the kids if they are the actual parents of the children. Watching is not a word that they should be using.
No. You're watching the kids if they're on a playground. You're
a father, you're a mother. So if the
what are you doing today? I'm hanging with my kids. That's really what you're doing.
Right. I'm hanging with my kids.
Or I'm staying home with kids, whatever.
Right. Right. Exactly. So that's it. Those are all of mine. You wanted to go back to standards, or you wanted to go back to double standards on pay rate. That is up to you.
I did real quick. We'll touch on it real quick because I did a lot of research on that. And I think we've had this conversation before. And I'll use the nursing for an example. Women have been nurses majority of the time. Now they're mad because guys, and so this is where I really started my research, because male nurses are coming in making more money than the female nurses that have started there. However, the reason is negotiation skills. Women don't really do that. And I can speak from experience as a guy who's done a lot of hiring. A guy will come in and he'll negotiate pay. A woman will come in, I'll tell her how much it is and she'll accept it and start the job. So, of course, it's my job to save the company as much as I can when I'm hiring, right? So if I tell you the job pays $56,000 a year, knowing that I can go up, and you say accept it, I'm not going to say, oh, well, you could have made 70. I'm not going to tell you that. But the next guy comes in and I want this guy too, and he says, yeah, I need to make 65 or I can't take the job. No, I'll give you 65, right? So now he's making more money already than the woman, and it looks as though I'm favoring the man. I'm not.
So, ladies, here's what Dave's going to do for you.
Yes.
I'm volunteering him for this.
I will teach you how to negotiate.
Dave is going to do an episode on negotiation.
Yes, I sure will.
And he's going to teach you how to walk in, get what you want, say what you want, walk when you don't need it, whatever it is.
That's right.
Because I agree that women should negotiate more. Why not?
They don't. Yeah. And that's a fact that's happening in the world. I mean, there's a lot of things that I read about businesses and what's going on in the world and how salaries are getting to where they are and you look at female versus male. And listen, one of the best CEOs of a company I've ever worked with was the CEO of IBM, and it was a female. She was a great CEO. But there's other things too. I've also seen women in power in businesses that were horrendous because they're way too emotional. They need to be able to suck it up during work. And men tend to do that more. We hold things inside. We already know this. So if
men in the workplace are starting to become a little emotional, though, I got to say.
Yeah,
that's
they are.
Happen.
They truly are. And I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what it is? Go.
Guys are trying to be even with women now, too. Yeah. So, but
there you go. Equality is equality, right? So you got men throwing tantrums on the job.
No, it's horrendous.
And you got to say to the guy, hey, would you like a glass of water?
But so I do have somebody.
To sit down?
I do. We do have some guests coming up next year.
Yes.
And so we have a guest coming that is a sex worker. She works in the sex industry, and she's going to come on and talk to us about that. And there's a lot of interesting things that we don't take into consideration. So we're going to look at a logical standpoint of talking about with a sex worker. Some of the things, whether or not are they going to end up hating men because of this and interesting stuff. So that'll be a good one for the new year coming up.
I've also got a couple of guests that are friends of mine coming up, and you know me, I bring in the heavy hitters.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm bringing in somebody who is a friend of mine who I've known forever, and she's a corporate franchise owner, and she can probably she's going to tell the story of her life. She's also written a book which is not about the business, but it's related. And she's a toughie. So when it comes to business, she's no joke. And so
Excellent. You're
going to enjoy Dave talking to her.
Yeah, that'll be great.
And also Dave's been in the business of music for a while, and she works with a lot of musicians. So,
fun.
That's also, but yeah, we're going to talk to her. We also are going to talk to another friend of mine who's into fitness, who's done fitness, for years, opened a gym. Very interested in making sure that she gives support to women, wants to make sure that women are empowered. She's starting off a podcast at the beginning of next year.
Nice.
And once we get close to that, we'll have a date for that. And I will promote as soon as we know what's going on. I'll put it online so that you can see it. I don't want to get into it. It's kind of it's an exciting guest.
Yeah, we got some new things coming up this next new year, and it's a
2023 is going to be good so far.
Yeah, a second season,
and I'm pulling in more. I'm putting my irons in the fire on some new guests. So
yeah, absolutely.
Cool. We got three in the pipe, but we got some more coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I actually have been speaking with I won't say nothing because I haven't solidified it yet, so I won't say nothing yet.
Yeah.
But hopefully. I get somebody very interesting coming to chat with us as well. So, we got a lot. It's our second season. Who'd have thunk, right?
I know. Our second season begins.
This is just
before we go, we should probably say, hey, Christmas is coming, so we should probably say some holiday greeting. Hey, how you doing? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
This is going to drop. The date of this dropping will be the 22nd. Well, they now know that it's tomorrow. They didn't have to.
Sorry.
But it would be it's going to be the morning of the 22nd of December, and we will not have a podcast until the following week. So this weekend coming up is going to be Christmas. If you guys are traveling and all that kind of stuff, what I think we might do is I might break this up, this podcast, and we might drop it one day after the other. We'll just kind of make it.
Sure.
So this beginning of this should drop Thursday morning, and then we'll maybe have the rest of it on Friday, so that, as you're traveling, going wherever you're going, home to family or whatever, and you're on trains and planes and all that kind of stuff, you can download our podcast.
So, you know what we might do? Mm-hmm. Today's December 21st, right? So we're not going to do anything till the next year. And that way, let people catch up.
Well, we did that a couple of weeks ago, but okay, we can do that too.
Yeah,
I might put together a show of like a little bit of just some clips of our stuff that we've done this year, like just a little best of or 10 best moments or whatever, something like that, before the new year, just kind of to wrap up the year. But I'll work on that. But it'll be a good 2023 that we're starting out with, and we want to make sure you guys have a good Christmas. I don't want to, with the fact that we're all combobulated on time, I want to make sure that people get a nice holiday greeting from us.
Yeah, absolutely. Merry Christmas.
Dave and I would love some holiday coffee. We like coffee in the holidays. We do.
Yes. We can use that coffee money, by the way. So if you go to buymeacoffee.com /Lana and Dave, we can also buy hot chocolate. too. We don't have to buy coffee.
Hot chocolate.
So
can I have
good.
marshmallows in mine?
Yeah, you can. You know, I want
A little mini
I
marshmallows.
want one of them bombs. Those were really
Oh yeah.
I had one and it was awesome.
Those are pretty cool. Do you know, I just watched, I'm not on TikTok as much as I want to be yet because I'm still learning it, but I'm flipping through and like I'm watching all the videos of the stuff that people make. Like, and I just watched one with somebody made like a candy cane thing, like a bomb where they drop it into hot milk.
Yeah.
And it's like this, you know,
Yeah.
it's mint, it's got like peppermint, and it's got like chocolate, and it's got
hot chocolate bombs. It's a ball.
Yeah.
You drop it.
But you drop it in, but this one had like the candy cane attached to it.
Oh, so you could use
So you put the candy cane and you stir.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
ooh, it was really pretty. I mean, I thought that was pretty cool. So I was like, ooh, right before we had this podcast,
I don't like
watched that.
peppermint, so keep your peppermints.
I don't like peppermint either, but you can always opt to not
You
use
know what
it.
I
You can
want
always.
that I haven't had?
What do you want?
I want the ribbon candy. I used to love
Ooh, I wonder if somebody must. You know, I'm going to go online and look for that because I haven't seen that in years either. I used to get that a lot on Christmas.
You know where CVS probably has it. I guarantee.
I bet you they do. Probably.
You know what's another thing too that I have to get because it's that season is those orange chocolate that you smash and it breaks up into little pieces.
Oh, those are what are those called?
I think it's called an orange.
I know what you're talking about.
Chocolate
Yeah,
orange.
but there's a brand name for those, and I can't remember right now what that is.
But yeah, I usually go.
I had a friend of mine years ago who used to love turtles, but only on Christmas. Those little Christmas turtles, chocolate caramel stuff. In those toffee phase, remember those?
Yeah, of course.
Those were pretty cool. But yeah, we don't forget. By the way, I have a podcast that I did a couple of weeks ago about if you're stuck at a holiday party, and whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, how to deal with that.
Yeah, how do you find that? I didn't see it in our list.
Oh, so it's actually called. Of course, I don't have the list in front of me.
No, but can you get to it?
Oh, you know what? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. If you go to Lana and Dave, www.lanaanddave.com.
Yes.
I'm actually going to pull up. I have a little.
Well, you can share the link on our Facebook page. That's for sure.
Here we go. Yeah, so I'm going to do that. I think I already have, but lately it's called Introverts. It's called Introverts. I wrote Introverts / parties. I think that was just my way of making sure that I had a mental note of what it was that I was going to do.
Yeah, I think it was something about because you mentioned something about how to deal with how.
So basically, this is like you're if you're introverted, this is the time of year where you kind of really get cornered by a lot of people. You're at Christmas parties at like work, and you're at Christmas parties at people's houses. You're getting dragged to bars, all these places. And if you're an introvert, you like sometimes can't really get out of going, but you want to make sure that you're taking care of your own mental and emotional health as you're going through these things.
Yep.
And so these are just some tips to kind of get through. And what I called it technically is the logical life hack introvert holiday.
There you go. So I get thankful,
and that's episode 26.
Do not. I don't get why people feel obligated to go to their work Christmas party. I never go ever.
Yeah, I mean,
those are not my friends. Those are people I work with. And a work Christmas party to me is you're opening up a can of worms where people get. First of all, everybody's drunk. People are doing stupid shit, and then you hear about it. The whole you come to work, you should have seen this one on the floor with a vagina out and all of it. I don't care. First of all, I didn't go because I don't want to know. You know what I mean? I'm looking at these people as business.
Well, there are some people and I will agree that there are some companies that will kind of guilt you into, they'll make you feel like if you don't go that, you're not part of the corporate structure or whatever it is. Some people really get guilted into it.
Yeah, I don't care. My private life is my private life.
I know you don't. And I'm just saying, but for the people that feel like for some reason, I mean, sometimes you go to work and the party is at work. You can't do anything unless you leave.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll get stuck in your kitchen at work.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's
whatever. There's there's a couple places where I work. There's this really big cafeteria, and like that's where they did everything. So while they got you right there while you're coming from your desk.
While you're at work. Yeah.
Right. And so it's different to go to a really fancy dress up, all kind of thing. That's one thing. But when you're stuck, when you're stuck at your desk and
IBM had
hey, get up and come out and party with us. Yeah.
They'd have them at a big, huge hall and a huge event, and it's all catered and gorgeous. I mean, I saw pictures and I was like, oh, it looks pretty fun. I'm not going.
Yeah.
Right. No. They send out pamphlets and everything else, and there's flyers and everything for this big party, and everything's free, and no, I'm not going.
Right. And I agree that, like, but I don't know. I think some people.
I even said to him, I go,
for whatever reason,
they hand out the Christmas bonuses there. And I go, does that mean I'm not getting my Christmas bonus? They go, no, of course you'll get your Christmas bonus. Direct deposit. That's fine,
Right. I mean, nowadays, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But
I'm not.
But there was a time where they did hand it to you there, and that was like kind of their bargaining chip to get you to show up.
That's right.
But it's like, again, it's so funny. Before we go there, in my group, we had this conversation where a woman said, I left town years ago. I worked at this job, and I got a better job, and I moved out of town. From where she lived, whatever, it was like 12 years before. She's like, the holidays are here. So I'm home. I'm married. I got my husband, and we come back into town. And she goes, and I find out through the grapevine, through the everybody talking and gossiping in the supermarket or whatever, that like, they're still mad at me because like, I didn't allow them to give me a going away party 12 years ago.
Wow.
She's like, I'm finding out that they're really mad because like, and we had this conversation about how, when you leave or when anything happens that causes everybody to celebrate and you take that from them, man, I got to tell you, they are not happy about that.
Yep.
And so, it's mostly extroverts that, I mean, for extroverts, they live for it. So that's their way of getting through their work life.
I guess
is that they want to make sure that they're connecting and they're talking and all the stuff that's going on at work that we're trying to avoid as introverts. They live for that stuff, and that's how they go to work. The work for them is the tedious part, and then like they're hoping they can connect.
Yeah, see, I don't
other
get that.
People at work. Like, that's just the way they're
Silly
built,
to me.
and that's fine.
Business is business. I
know.
won't even I mean, there's very few, but they're also close to me that I do business with that are actually on my Facebook. No, you don't get to see my Facebook. We're not friends.
And compartmentalization is great, but some people really like, I actually know, and I'm not saying that this is a bad thing, but there are people who they work because they have to, but really the social aspect of it is the only reason that they get through it. It's just, if it doesn't have a good social aspect, like they're miserable and they don't really like the job.
I have friends. Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that's what I'm saying. It has to be like everybody's a best friend. It's a social event for them all year long. Everywhere they go, this is the way they live, right? So
that's
for them, the Christmas party is like the thing they wait for all year for that. That's like their thing.
Okay.
Or whatever. I'm trying to think of what else. Like, somebody's birthday at work. Please kill me. I can't deal with the birthday at work, right?
Oh,
Who cares if it's my birthday? But can you say to them, hey, if you want to celebrate my birthday while I go home, you knock yourself out. But do I have to be here for this?
Yeah. That's bringing. Yeah. So no.
But they love the parties. Like some people just the party thing is they live for it. They can't wait for the next one.
They were the ones that were really in charge of the bake sales at their schools.
Yes.
That's what they were. They were like, bake sale, yeah.
By the way, Bad Moms is a great Christmas movie.
Oh, it's awesome.
And Christina Applegate is such a great
Of course she is.
Mom, Gwendolyn. I love her. I love her so much.
Yep.
Did you see the Hollywood star she got? And I mean, she's got MS and all that, right?
Yeah.
I told you that.
Yep.
That is one of my favorite movies that she's in a million things that I love, but playing Gwendolyn and the crazy mom that won't allow any sugar at the bake sale.
Oh God.
She's such a great, but that's the kind of, that's not, there is a Bad Moms Christmas, but that's Bad Moms. That's the first one. She is in the second one briefly, but that those people, yes, they're the bake sale people. They're the extracurricular people. They were the people in school that, yes, they went to school and they did their homework and they did their schoolwork, but really they were there because they wanted to go to the pep rally and they wanted to, all the things that were social that were around the school is like the reason they showed up. And then the schoolwork was like on the side and it was some stupid thing they had to do and they got through it, but that wasn't why they went.
So anyway, Merry Christmas to everybody. Have a great Christmas. We'll go on forever. This is the way.
I know.
And I want to know, what is your favorite thing to do on Christmas Day? What movie do you watch? Like I watched what's the one with, oh my God.
Well, the one that they play, it's a if you have TBS, I mean that's the standard, right? TBS plays for 24 hours. They play A Christmas Story. That's over and over and over and over.
That's my favorite. I do that. I leave that on all day long. Love that.
But there's a new one. There's A Christmas Story Christmas where the guy comes back and there's a second movie. Did you know that? I don't know what. I think it's on HBO Max. But
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, it's the grown-up guy. It's the guy that you shoot your eye out. You shoot your eye out.
Love that. So you got to tell us what your favorite Christmas movie is. Call us on our hotline, 800-894-2158. And of course, we won't answer. It'll go to a voicemail, and you just leave us. I want to hear what you guys have to say, or you can tell us, anything you want. Tell us.
We can do a little bit of a listener in our episode where we could play some of the stuff that you guys are telling us about what your favorite Christmas movie is, or what your favorite thing to do is. Like,
Well, it's cool too, since it's the new year coming up, and I don't necessarily buy into all of this, but everybody wants to have a New Year's resolution. So call that number. And again, the number is 800-894-2158, and leave us your New Year's resolution. And we're going to put it on our show of a list of a bunch of people's New Year's resolutions, and maybe we'll talk about it.
We can read it off if you want. We could play it if you want. Of course, make sure you tell us if you do not want us to play your file or your audio, or you don't want us to use your name. We can definitely.
You can just say, you straight up say it. I'm not going to give my name, but I'd like to say this is my New Year's resolution, and we can talk about those New Year's resolutions. I think that'll be
right. Well, that's how some of our guests are coming in. That's going to be what they're for.
That's right.
And don't forget, I also left in the last episode a reading suggestion for a woman who studies habits and how to change habits in your life.
Yes, that's a good one.
How to, and so it's already on the website. I put it up last week, but I just want to make sure you remember that too. It's a good read for the beginning of the year.
And there's another one too called the 5-Second Rule, which is a really good one too. That's a good book to change habits.
Do you know who does that?
I do not. Okay. Sorry. Maybe I'll find the link and I'll post it.
Okay.
Because I read that book and it changed how I get out of bed in the morning, and it was very simple. Like I literally,
that's the thing. And
when it's time for me to get up, I open my eyes and I get right out of bed, and I have a thing that I do every morning. And when I created this morning ritual that I do every single morning, but I'm up out of bed, no problems. I used to have a tough time getting out of bed, and I changed that habit, and literally it only took me 2 weeks. And then I was done.
It really is little teeny things like that. The book that I put up was Wendy Wood, and it's called Good Habits, Bad Habits. It's basically just about tiny, tiny little things like adding to your habits that you have already, like you brush your teeth before you go to bed and you need to hydrate. So you brush your teeth and you drink a glass of water. You just add that in. And it's just one thing that you need to do. And if you do it every day, it adds up, something like that. Or during the time that you do one thing, you just add a little extra thing in there, that you always wanted to make sure you got done. Maybe you take your vitamin at the same time, just whatever. Little things like that you can eventually build habits to change your life and really make a difference.
So it's by Mel Robbins. It's called The 5-Second Rule. Very good book.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's so that's a good book too. But you guys have a spectacular Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate.
Yes. And if I do not leave any information, because I'm going to put an episode together for the end of the year. So I think I will wish you a happy new year at that time. But if I do not do that, please have a happy new year.
Yeah. Happy new year as well. And we'll see you in season 2. And we'll be kicking it off with some exciting stuff. So don't miss it. Catch up this, you get a little time to catch up for the holiday season. This time's where you're going to be like, I got nothing to do. I'm sitting here with family and everybody's sleeping.
You pull out your iPod.
That's right.
Or you pull out your iPhone.
Free has an
iPod, iPad, your AirPods, whatever, your earpods, AirPods.
Yeah.
And you go, you know what? I'm going to just throw an episode of Lana and Dave, Love and Life with Lana and Dave. I'm just going to listen to that really quick because I can't listen to my uncle tell another story about.
Yeah. About
whatever.
I can't watch my uncle throw up again. Yeah. You guys have a great holidays, and we'll see you next year.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, you just listened to Love and Life with Lana and Dave. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please share the podcast, leave us a comment or review, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any new content. We'll see you soon.